Hi, in today's lesson, we are going to learn about geometric sequence. We will determine the nth term and the sum of the first n terms. Geometric sequence is a sequence of numbers in which any term can be the previous term by multiplying a certain number called common ratio. Common ratio is this R. A is what we call as the first term. An example of a geometric sequence is, as written, 2, 4, 8 and 16, where the difference between these two numbers is just by multiplying with 2. 2 times 2 you get 4, and then 4 times 2 you get 8, 8 times 2 you get 16. This is an example of geometric sequence. The general term of a geometric sequence is as written. This is a very important formula that you have to memorize. The common ratio is given as the formula Tn over Tn minus 1, which means that if we want to find the common ratio of this sequence, we have to divide the second term with the first term, which is just 4 over 2, and you get 2 for the R, or common ratio. You can also do the same for the third term, divide with second term, the fourth term divide with the third term, and you will still get the common ratio as 2. Example 1. Find the general term for the geometric sequence 8, 16, 32 and 64. Well, what is the general term? General term here means is the big T, capital T. General here is the subscript n, or any other unknowns that you'd like to replace it with. So to solve this question, since the question gave us the information that this is a geometric sequence, that means we can simply use the formula of geometric sequence. Once we know the formula of geometric sequence, we can just replace the value of A and the value of R. The A is the first term. So the first term of this sequence is 8. And then to find R, remember from the formula it's just the second term divided with the first term, or the third term divided with the second term, and so on. So let's say we chose second term divided with first term, you get 16 over 8, and the answer is 2. So to find your general term, just substitute in your values of A and R into the formula. Alright, a common error that the students always do here is they always multiply 8 with 2. Can you do this? They will simply get 16 power of n minus 1. Is this correct? This is the wrong way in writing. Please don't do this error, because 8 has power 1, 2 has power n minus 1. They have different bases. We cannot combine them. They also have different powers. So to simplify this problem, just change 8 to be the same base as 2, which is 2 to the power of 3. And then 2 to the power of n minus 1, you can just split it and then combine it again. Since we have the same base, the power will be 3 plus n minus 1. Final answer is just 2 to the power of n plus 2. Next, to find the nth term of a geometric sequence, nth term here means the capital T and then the ninth term. The question also mentioned that this is a geometric sequence. That means we already know what is the formula involved in this question. Just write down the formula, and then we know the n here is 9. Our A is just the first term, which is 27. And our R is the common ratio. You can find it by dividing the second term with the first term. And you will get 1 over 3. Okay, then you just replace all of the values into the formulas to find your ninth term. Now you can just press your calculator and simplify to get your final answer. Your final answer is 1 over 243. Here, if you don't want to change it to the same base, it's also acceptable, because we just want to find the ninth term. You can just press your calculator and straight away get this answer. Example 3a, the nth term of the sequence is as given. So whenever the question has given you the nth term of a sequence, do not use the general formula of the geometric sequence, even though we know this is a geometric sequence. Now, to show that the sequence is geometric, what you have to do is similar to what you have learned in arithmetic sequence. You have to use the formula, the general formula, to show that it's a geometric sequence. The formula that you can use to show that this is a geometric sequence is Tn plus 1 over Tn. Or you can also prove this in general, Tn over Tn minus 1. So let's say we chose this first formula. You can use either one as long as you don't prove for only the second term or the first term or the third term or the second term and so on. You have to prove it in general n using the general formula. Okay, so the formula for Tn is given, and then to use this formula we need to know what is the n plus 1th term. So since we know that this n can be replaced with any number, and let's say we replace it with n plus 1. So that means our n now has been replaced to be n plus 1 minus 1. Okay? Then we simplify the index, you will get 2 over 3 to the power of n. Next, write in the formula r equal to Tn plus 1 over Tn. Substitute the formulas involved and then simplify this. Since we have the same base and they are divided, we just have to put a minus sign for the denominator. N minus 1. Simplify this and you will get 2 over 3. Don't forget, similar to arithmetic sequence for showing question, you have to write the conclusion to explain why this is a geometric sequence. Since the common ratio r is a constant, you can write it's a constant 2 over 3, thus the sequence is a geometric sequence. Example 3 wants us to find the value of n where Tn is equal to 256 over 6561. To find the value of n, which is here, we must substitute or equate these two equations together, because both of them are referring to Tn term. Next, to solve this problem, the easiest way is to try to write 256 over 6561 in terms of the same base as the one on the left side. So can you write this fraction to be 2 over 3 to the power of something? You can try it out, and then you find that 2 over 3 to the power of 8 is equal to this fraction. Since the bases are equal, we compare the index. N minus 1 is equal to 8, so n is equal to 9. Well, what if you cannot write this large fraction to be the same base as the one on the left side? Another method to solve is you can put log on both sides of the equation. Why do we need to put log both sides on the equation? Is because we want to change the position of the power and bring it down. Once you have brought n minus 1 to the front of the log, what you can do is you can press your calculator for these values and then replace them here. And since this is multiplication, you bring this value to the right, just divide with the right side value, and then you will get your value of n minus 1. To find your n, just bring n minus 1 to the right, which becomes plus 1. I hope this helps. And your final answer is the n. For this question, you will also get n equal to 9. You can try this method out and see if you get the same answer. Next, the sum of geometric sequence or progression. This is the general formula of the sum. You can use this formula for all real numbers except for when the common ratio is 1. Example 4. Find S5, which means the sum of the first 5 terms of the geometric sequence in which a is equal to 27 and r equal to 2 over 3. To solve this question, we know what is the geometric sequence formula for sums. Just write the formula of the sums, and then we just have to substitute in the values of a and r into this formula. So after you have substituted, you just have to press your calculator and find the answer. So this is your final answer. Example 5. The first term of a geometric sequence is 27 and its common ratio is 4 over 3. Find the least number of terms the sequence can have if its sum exceeds 550. For this wordy type of question, you really have to take out the information and write it in mathematical terms. Like the first information that you have here. The first term of a geometric sequence is 27. First term here means the value of a. So a equal to 27, you get it from this sentence. And then at this sentence as well, they mentioned about common ratio is 4 over 3 and common ratio is the r. Take out the information and list them down. And then find the least number of terms the sequence can have. Least number of terms here means not Tn, but it's the number of n. If they want to tell you about the Tn, they will mention this as nth term, not the number of terms. If they say number of terms, they are referring to the value of n. What does it mean by sum exceeds 550? This means sum is the capital S, and then we have the subscript as n, since we don't know what is the number of this last term that exceeds 550. Exceed here means is the inequality sign of greater than, and then you write 550. That's the next information. The first formula that's useful to solve this question is capital S n, which refers to the sum formula. And the question mentioned about this type of sequence, which is geometric sequence. So we just have to substitute the general formula of the sum for geometric into this inequality. To simplify your working, let's first ignore the inequality sign and just equate it to 550. You substitute in your a and r's into the formula, and then you simplify. Since all of this is multiplied together, when you bring it to the left side, you divide all of these numbers. Once you have reached this step, this is solving the index problem, the same as the previous example. Remember, I showed you two methods. The first method, which is the easier method, you can rewrite this big fraction, this large fraction, to be in terms of the same base on the left side. But can you write it? Can you find 4 to the power of something to be equal to 221 and 3 to the power of something to be equal to 81? Well, if you can't, just take log, both left and right side. Once you put log on the left and right side, you can bring the power to the front of log. And to solve this, just bring this log to the right side and divide these two logs to find your value of n. But remember, the question wants us to find the sum that exceeds 550. So that means we need to find the value of n which exceeds 7.136. And the value of n, where n must be an integer, will be an integer greater than 7, which is 8. Example 6. The first term of a geometric sequence is 6. The last term is 1458, and the sum of all terms is 2184. Find the common ratio of this geometric sequence. Whenever the question mentions about the type of sequence, please do highlight this. This is the most important thing before we start answering. Next, what you do is list down the informations given. Go through the information one by one and take them out. First term here means a, and this is equal 6, the first information. Next information, we have last term. Since we don't know the number of terms for this question, we just write this last term as Tn equal to 1458. Next information. Last information, the sum of all terms. Same thing, since we don't know how many number of terms in this sequence, we just write sum of n equal to 2184. Once you have listed down the informations, read the question again. Find the common ratio. Common ratio here means the r for this geometric sequence. So how to find the r? we know the formula of geometric sequence for the general term. Just write it down and then substitute your value of last term there. Substitute your a values as well and leave your r since we don't know what is the value of r, and also n. Solve this by bringing 6 to the left side. Remember 6 has power 1 only, and just bring 6 power 1 to the left side. From the law of indices, a power of m over a to the power of n equal to a power of m minus n. We can use that here and separate this as r to the power of n over r. And then you are stuck here. So just leave your equation right there. Moving on to the next formula that we can use for this question, which is Sn. We know the formula for the sums in general for a geometric sequence. Just write it down there and then replace the Sn with 2184. But now, since we are stuck here just now, we know the value of r to the power of n is 243r, and this is r to the power of n. We can just replace it here. Replace everything in, including your a, and you are left with the unknown r. Bring 1 minus r to the left side. You can simplify this further by dividing everything with number 6. Because you can divide 6 to the left side and you will get 364. It is helpful for you to simplify the equation first before you solve this, so that you don't deal with large numbers. Next, just expand this number and solve until you find the value of r, and r is equal to 3. Okay, thank you for watching.